Volkswagen dealers. Stop by and test drive a Volkswagen now.
Friday night at the Met Center in Minnesota, the Sockers were facing elimination for the second straight game, but Addie Coker's goal made the score 1-1 at the half. Defender Fernando Clavillo then found an opening between the legs of Minnesota goalkeeper Tino Lettieri. That tied the score at 3. Then, Jacques Ladouceur, who would score twice in the game, got some help from the strikers Jan Goossens, who accidentally deflected it into his own net. And then the Sockers got some much-needed breathing space. Coker's pass to Quinn makes it 4-2 San Diego. The strikers would score again on a power play, but then the play of the game. A goal line block by San Diego State's Kevin Crow leads to an empty net shot down at the other end by the Sockers' Bronco Segota. And San Diego goes on to beat Minnesota 6-3 to set up tonight's championship finale. Hello again, everyone. I'm Randy Hahn, and welcome to the Sports Arena in San Diego for the 7th and deciding game tonight of the Major Indoor Soccer League Championship Series. And what a comeback it's been by the San Diego Sockers. A week ago, written off by many people, down 3-1 in this series. And then, as you just saw moments ago, tying this series up in Minnesota on Friday night. Chuck Fritsch is back with us for this final telecast this season, and he'll join us next with Sockers head coach Ron Newman.
Ron Newman, your old golf pro here. Today I want to show you how to improve your drives. Well, first, let's get rid of these silly things, and then head over to your San Diego County Volkswagen dealer and get into one of these, a Volkswagen Golf. Golf's got a lot on the ball, it's fun to drive, handles beautifully, carries the family in comfort, and wait until you see how much it holds. So swing in and see your San Diego County Volkswagen dealer today. I'm going as soon as I tee up.
To the San Diego Sports Arena, I'm Chuck Fritsch along with Ron Newman, and coming up in just a couple of moments on TV 69, the Sockers and the Minnesota Strikers, Game 7 of the MISL Championship Series. The mood of the club these days is what?
I would say this morning, Chuck, they were very loose, eager, and excited about tonight. But as we get closer to the kickoff time, there's going to be a lot of nerves, I know.
Injuries right now, a big concern of you. What is the injury situation as you come into the deciding game?
Well, there's been a magic wand being waved about because everybody's fit. Now, that's quite a miracle after we thought of last week's game. Julie V came through very well this morning. The big surprise is Hugo Perez. He came and worked out with a special taping done, job done, and he looked very good this morning. So he's going to go. Probably the most doubtful of all is Gene Werwich, but you know, you can't stop Gene at this stage of the season from not playing, much like all the others, and also Brian Smetzer. He had special taping put on, he's okay as well.
If you gaze into your crystal ball, what kind of a game can we expect tonight?
Well, you know, I think Lacazette is going to take a lot of control over the game. There's going to be a lot of nerves and the tension, and like I told my players, nobody could have wanted to win the game more than Minnesota did in front of their crowd, and look what happened to them. And I think it was nerves that put them down in the end, and a little bit of luck on our side. So we just got to hope that Lady Luck stays with us, and we keep cool, and we play the way we can play here.
What do you expect Minnesota to do tonight?
I think they're going to defend like crazy to begin with, try to keep it tight and stay in the game as long as they can.
Ron Newman, best of luck, and here's hoping for one for the thumb.
Oh, it'd be marvelous if we can do it.
Thank you very much. Head coach Ron Newman of the Sockers. It's the Sockers and the Minnesota Strikers coming up next on TV 69. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff right after these words.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome live to the Sports Arena in San Diego. I'm Randy Hahn, along with Chuck Fritsch, here for Game 7 of the MISL Championship Series between the San Diego Sockers and the Minnesota Strikers. A sellout crowd, first of the playoffs for the Sockers. And Chuck Fritsch, you can just feel the excitement in the air.
This is my first ever deciding game, Randy, and I'll tell you, I am pumped up. And there's about 12,888 soccer fans that feel the same way right now. Really a lot of electricity in the air.
The Sockers, of course, down 3-1 in this championship series, and then battling back with a win here at the Sports Arena last Wednesday night, and then a victory, Minnesota 6-3, of which you just saw the highlights if you're watching us on TV 69, to tie this series at 3-3 and bring us to this 7th and deciding game. The Sockers have been to the brink before in a final series, back in 82-83 when they played the Baltimore Blast in a 5th and deciding game. They beat the Blast by a score of 3-1, so they have a little history on their side. The Strikers looking to win their first ever MISL Championship Series. We're awaiting the national anthem by Kate Smith here at the Sports Arena, and then we'll be underway with the opening kickoff of Game 7 of this championship series. Sockers introducing their whole team prior to the start of tonight's game, including the injured players. Kaz Dana not in the lineup because Hugo Perez is back. And that's the big surprise tonight. Perez was thought to be out for at least a week. And you hear the Sockers chant already going through the rafters here at the Sports Arena. Tonight's game, in addition to be televised throughout San Diego on KTTY TV 69, is also being covered by the Prime Ticket Network throughout Southern California, in fact, the entire state and various other states, and also back to Minnesota on KITN television. And on this Memorial Day, this evening's game also being enjoyed by the entire Armed Forces Network. Kate Smith and God Bless America. A sellout crowd here at the Sports Arena in San Diego. Game 7 of the MISL Championship Series. Sockers are in their home whites with blue shorts and gold socks, while the Minnesota Strikers, the visitors, in their visiting red jerseys with black shorts and red socks. They had 3 consecutive sellouts at the Met Center. As we get an opportunity, for those of you watching us on the telecast, to check out the referees, Gino DiPolito, Marty Templin, and Kelly Mock. They will be the officials. Mock is from La Jolla, but he will be in the box, not on the field. For San Diego, lining up at center, it will be Hugo Perez along with Bronco Segota and Gene Wilrich, the defenders Clavillo and Crow. And for Minnesota, it's Goosens with Alan Willie and Ray Hudson, Lota Vegas and Fogarty on defense. Gorsick in goal for San Diego. He is fired up, a 4.93 goals against average, 4-3 in the playoffs. He defends the goal to our right. And down at the other end is Tino Lettieri for the Minnesota Strikers. The lineups, again, Gorsick in goal, Clavillo, Crow, Wilrich, Segota, and Perez. Lettieri in the Minnesota net with a 3.41 goals against in the playoffs. He is 9-5 on the year. Well, Chuck, a lot of people have now written the Minnesota Strikers off. Your thoughts about their frame of mind coming into this?
No, it's the biggest mistake in the world, Randy, is to write off the Minnesota Strikers. They are an outstanding side. If they weren't, they wouldn't be here in Game 7 right now. I think that both teams have to do a little bit of remembering. I think that the Sockers have to remember what it took to get to Game 7 and look back on what they did in Game 6 to get to Game 7. If you're Minnesota, I think Alan Merrick probably went back to, let's say, tapes of Game 2, the way they dominated action here in this particular series. So if they can go back and do the kinds of things they did in Game 2, where they won so easily here and were so dominant, we're going to have a heck of a game on our hands tonight.
I think that's a very good point, that Merrick certainly must have been stressing the success they had in the second, third, and fourth games, all of which the Strikers won in this series. And I'm sure he's hoping his Strikers can do what they did here in Game 2, and that was win at the San Diego Sports Arena, breaking a streak that was really a remarkable one in all of sport for the Sockers, winning 26 in a row in the playoffs here in the building. We are set for the kickoff. Goosens with Willie for the Strikers. And Game 7 of this championship series is underway. And right from the kickoff, it's out of play as Hugo Perez kicks it over the boards off Fogarty. Fogarty, a tough guy, and you kind of hope that Perez doesn't run into a hard tackle early. That could be the one blow to the Sockers if their lineup was to be lessened somewhat by an early bump suffered by Perez. Hugo, of course, playing on a bad left knee, and I'm quite frankly surprised to see him out here, Chuck.
I think it's really a miracle that Hugo's out there right now. He wants to play in Game 7. Everybody is hurt. Some hurt more than others, but everybody wants to be out here in the 7th game.
This is Perez. Pass ahead for Segota. It goes past the defender, Fogarty. He'll go into the corner next to Lettieri. Try to feed it up the boards. Goosens has it taken away. Bronco trying to cut to his left. Bumped off the ball. Perez will get it back. Hugo moving down the wing to Kevin Crowe. Off the boards. It's Perez in front, and it goes into the corner. But a foul called against San Diego. And some good pressure by the Sockers right from the onset. And I know Ron Newman felt, as you would expect in a championship game like this, Chuck, that there would be some tense feelings out there by the players and some rather tentative play in the early parts.
Well, obviously, both teams are really fired up. There's a lot of emotion. And I think the Sockers are going to try to play on emotion early on in this game and see if they can put it to their advantage.
This is Thompson. You see him for the Strikers. Now a pass to Lota Vegas through the box and over to the boards. Lota Vegas, one you can't leave much room. Here's Segota going down the left side with Usian marking him. Bronco still after it. He's shoved down by Usian, but there's no foul. Lettieri will clear it back the other way to midfield for the Strikers. Byrne bumps with Gary Collier, but it'll go back to Jim Gorsuch. No score. We're live in the first period. And a ball out of play off Usian for kick-in San Diego. Ron Newman looking for his 5th consecutive championship. What an outstanding career playoff record for Ron. 39-10 indoors. And I think his biggest job was to bring reality back into everyone's frame of mind on the San Diego lineup. After that Game 6, it was almost like winning the championship.
That really is, because the job was not done. It got them here, and they know they still have one full game to play in order to win that 5th straight.
A foul called Strikers, and now it goes the other way against Addy Coker as he takes Etherington down along the wall. Sockers with 2 fouls, Minnesota with 1. We're scoreless in the first period. Etherington bringing it out of his zone to midfield for Tasso Koutsoukis. Knocked away from him by Collier, but it'll be Etherington getting it back for the Strikers. Now it's David Byrne, not the most popular guy here. Plays it ahead for Thompson in a race with Julie V. The shot handled by Gorsuch. Gives up a rebound, but Collier is there to clear it back. That was a big key in Game 6, too. The outstanding play of Zoltan Toth early on. It really set the trend of the game for Toth the rest of the way and really gave the Sockers something to work on early. They didn't find themselves in a hole. Quinn to the corner, knocked out of the crease by Lettieri. Comes back the other way for Alan Willie. Willie along pass for Goosens. Gorsuch out of the goal, and he kicks it out of play. And that will be kick in Minnesota.
Big chance by Jimmy that time, coming way out of the net to kick it away, but sometimes you've got to do that. Jim, not known as probably the most mobile guy around, but that time took a chance, able to boot it out of play.
Alan Merrick, the head coach of the Minnesota Strikers, a former player for them, along with Bruce Miller, his assistant coach. Merrick is the 3rd winningest playoff coach in MISL history already in only his 2nd season. The kick in for the Strikers now from the point. Left side, Lota Vegas curls it into the corner for Willie. Makes a nice turn, but Crowe will kick it away. Now Fogarty on the rebound sends it way up high in the seats. And this will be goal kick for Jim Gorsuch. Fogarty, one of those guys that Ron Newman really likes. He brought Fogarty over to the United States with the old Fort Lauderdale Strikers. And Fogarty, the consummate professional, plays hard, but isn't the type of guy to complain when he's hurting and doesn't really deal out too many cheap shots. He'll play hard and tough, but doesn't dish out a lot of the cheap stuff like some guys in this series have, and that goes for both sides. It was rather chippy in the middle parts of this series. Tackle in midfield on Perez, but he'll get it back for Kevin Crowe. And now on to Gorsuch. We played 3 minutes of this first period, and it's still scoreless. As Gorsuch feeds it up for Clavillo, he'll race up the right wing side. Now into the corner for Perez, kicked out by Lota Vegas, and that ball having a tough time staying inside the playing field. We've had a lot of balls out of play already. And, of course, in this situation, nobody wants to be the one to make the first mistake of, rather than clearing a ball out, allowing somebody to break in on goal. There's Willie, the goal-scoring leader in the playoffs, 14. He certainly is a candidate for MVP honors in the playoffs. Should the Strikers win, even if they lose, he would certainly get consideration. Wilrich now on the kick in front for Clavillo. Got a shot away, but it was blocked. Now it's Segota at the red line, battling with Willie. On the boards, Bronco brought down right in front of the referee, DiPolito. No call, and Willie will break it out. This is a 2-on-2. Gets it to Ray Hudson on the wing. Perez kicks it off his toe. Now Willie takes it away from Katakalitis, shoots it through the crease. Goosens couldn't get his left foot on it. Now Fogarty a drive wide. It'll come back to him, and he'll turn and play it to midfield for Etherington. Back across for Fogarty as the Strikers change on the run. A good switch as Hudson takes a rest, and on comes Big Thompson. You see it. Willie goes to the corner with Crow. It comes out for Goosens. Bank off the wall, and nobody there for the Strikers. Perez bringing it back to midfield for San Diego. Bumped off the ball by Yusian, but he stays with it. Hugo to the red line, turned around, and that's a foul. So the team's even now with 2 fouls each. Free kick for the Sockers, 2 yards across the red line in Minnesota territory. Segota lines it up, plays it to the right for Crow. Tried to slip it past Fogarty, who made a good effort to recover in mid-step and get that ball back. Now here's Perez in the slot. Back over to George Katakalitis at center, and the Sockers will change the lines. Perez will go off. On comes Addy Coker. Another key performer in Game 6. This is Segota. Down the left side. Takes on Fogarty. Goes to the corner in front for Addy, and he had backed up a little. Couldn't get a foot on it. Byrne will play it back out to Katsoukas. And he'll bring it out of the Minnesota zone. Dropped it for Etherington. They run a line change. Here's a steal for Coker. Addy in on goal to Ladouceur. He'll shoot. Tino with the save. Back to midfield comes Etherington. One-on-one with Gary Collier. Good job by Collier getting back, but they call a foul. And that's the third now against the Sockers. Now 10-10 left in the period. And still no score. As Yusian plays it ahead for Etherington, and we will get the kick in Minnesota. It's Yusian. This side of the red line, chips it up the wing for David Byrne. Collier gets to it first. Here's Ladouceur. Shock plays it out to the near boards. It's Namdar battling with Yusian. That'll curl around back into the penalty area. Gorsic will kick it to midfield. Thompson heads it right down to Ladouceur. Shock will bump it forward for Perez, but he'll get it away from Lodovegas. Now Ladouceur with a steal. He's knocked down, but Perez will get the advantage. Here comes Hugo across the red line. Drops it for Schmetzer. Bryan to the left point for Brian Quinn. His shot into the crease, but kicked out by Lodovegas. Collier heads it forward, but Thompson will knock it down and play it to Katsoukas. Good tackle from behind by Quinn. Got it away from Katsoukas. Now it's played by Schmetzer ahead for Perez. Sockers will change on the run using the dump it in style. And now Thompson bringing it back out. Still no score. We're in the first period live at the Sports Arena. We're simulcasting tonight on TV 69 and KLZZ. Gary Collier ahead for Namdar. Cha-Cha trying to control it. Gets it ahead to Brian Quinn. Quinn all alone. Comes to the boards. Double teamed there by Hudson and Lodovegas. Trying to get it out for Schmetzer at the point. It comes back the other way. Willie now one-on-one against Kevin Crow. Willie cuts it inside. Shoots, and it's wide. Good move by Willie on Kevin Crow. Now here's V. Takes it at the red line. Good pressure by Minnesota. A steal by Yusian. Here they come 3-on-2. Off to the right. V getting back. Makes the block and gets it again for the Sockers and clears it to Gorsic.
It's really that time able to come back after losing it the very first time around and then able to take the ball away from Yusian.
And now we get a stoppage in play with 8:27 to go in the first period of play. Still a scoreless tie as Jim Gorsic looks on from the Strikers bench. Gorsic looks like he's played an entire game already. Perspiring. Of course, this kind of game, it's no problem getting emotionally ready. If you can't, you're a robot. Lodovegas, defender for Minnesota. Good pass into the corner for David Byrne. He's quickly marked by Crow, and it'll roll off his foot. Burns to Namdar. Cha-cha double team. Crow will heel it back, though, to Jim Gorsuch. Pass upfield for Addy Coker. He and Quinn are there. Addy at the right point. Up to the red line for Segota. Bronco moves in on goal, then forced by Fogarty to play it back. Now it's Clavillo. Leaves it for Quinn. Quinn to the red line. Plays it ahead for Coker. Addy takes the pass. Shoots off the boards. Quinn on the relay. Score! Quinn makes it 1-0 San Diego on a great shot. We get an official's timeout, and we will pause for 1 minute. Sockers 1, Strikers nothing. We are back at the Sports Arena in San Diego. 1-0 the score. Brian Quinn on a great feed off the boards from Addy Coker. Quinn's 12th of the playoffs at 7:08. And it's 1-0 San Diego here in Game 7 of this championship series. Thompson UC in with the ball for Minnesota. Ahead for Alan Willie. Willie, a heel pass for Thompson. Good play. And then a good block by Segota. Great move by San Diego's number 20. Now the other number 20 over to Willie. His move into the box. Onto the left side. A chance, and it's kicked out at the goal line by Clavillo. What an outstanding job there by Fernando.
Really was, and they're playing so well right now. Clavillo that time able to get behind, do the same thing that Brian Quinn did, in fact, in Game 6. To save a goal, that's his job. Fernando goes in, just able to click it away and out of harm's way.
Well, that was reminiscent of the goal line block by Crow in Game 6, which really turned the game around. That block in Game 6, which led to an empty net goal, was the difference between a 4-4 tie and a 5-3 San Diego lead, which of course it became on the empty netter by Segota. Now corner kick for Minnesota. Thompson UC stands over the ball. Back for Goossens. His shot hits Kevin Crow up high and comes all the way to midfield. Cleared by Etherington. Back for Tino Lettieri. He knocks it to midfield where it hits Kevin Crow. Etherington gets it back once more and again plays it to the goalkeeper, Lettieri. 1-0 San Diego. We're live at the Sports Arena in San Diego. 7 minutes to go in the opening period. Willie along the boards. He falls down. Crow tried to clear it up for Quinn, but it hit Willie. Now Willie on the run, but Gorsuch will come out and clear it to Quinn. Quinn, nice skill move to get away from Thompson UC. Now he backheels it for Kevin Crow. Long pass up the wing. Quinn into the corner. In front for Perez, but it's knocked down by the Strikers. They'll get it back to the red line for Willie. Teams changing on the run. Here's Etherington, cutting it back to the middle. Byrne, tripped up by Schmetzer, then goes to the corner, and Crow is called for a foul. And that's the 4th San Diego foul. And if there's one thing we've seen in this series, Chuck, that can get the Sockers into trouble, it's penalties.
Well, that's certainly something we've seen in this series and throughout the season, Randy. And when you get to Game 7 right now, you've really got to take care in those penalty areas.
Here's the corner kick. It comes off the boards and back out. Byrne at the red line plays it out to Dwight Lodevegas. Now it's Thompson ahead for Alan Willie. Bump back for Jim Gorsuch. Tossed by Gorsuch, intercepted in midfield. This is Fogarty chasing it down, plays it over to the right side for Koutsoukas. He'll wind up, play it across the goal mouth, and Gorsuch with a diving move to knock it away. Namdar now feeding it up for Ladouceur. He was held, but gets past his man. Sends it up the left side for Perez, but Tino Lettieri's out of the goal. The Strikers work it back to midfield, then the ball played back for Lodevegas. 1-0 Sockers on the goal by Quinn. Lodevegas back for Fogarty with 5:35 left in the period. Played back again to Lettieri. He'll toe poke it way up front for Kevin Crow, who intercepts. Comes back the other way to Juan Hermes. Watt all alone in the offensive zone. Plays it back to midfield for Namdar. This is Gary Collier, going for his 4th straight championship. He missed the first year. Hermes tries to get a ball through for Wilrich. It's knocked away. Back to midfield for Brian Schmetzer. Collier now up the left wing for Addy Coker right as he came off the bench. Coker down the wing, stops, played it ahead for Wilrich, who was double clutching and missed. Katsoukas back to Ken Fogarty and back again to Tino Lettieri. Well, Chuck, no one team has really dominated the game so far. Soccer's just taking advantage. Really good opportunity.
Well, in a game like this, when you've got the opportunity, you've got to close on it. That's certainly something they've done.
Collier. A nice steal, and now Julie V at midfield. A pass to Perez. Hugo takes it, shoots, and just misses wide. Had it on his left foot, right where he wants it. Here's V getting back the rebound. Over to Wilrich. Gene trying to get away from Lodovegas. Can't. And back the other way come the strikers. To midfield, Lodovegas. Got some space down the right side. A nice move to the middle. And then the shot hits Perez. And the Sockers are getting in front of everything. They break it out the right wing for Gene Wilrich. Wilrich up to the line. Trying to take on his man. He does. Shoots. And it's blocked in front by Etherington. And you know that shot by Wilrich had something on it. You see him stumbling. Now he moves toward the San Diego zone. Crosses the red line. It's knocked away by Quinn. Here's Bryan. 2-on-1 with Addy Coker. Quinn down the right side, having trouble with it, off the boards. Coker couldn't put in the rebound. Another great chance and a great bit of work by those two players who combined on the first goal.
Well, Brian Quinn tried to do it all himself that time, and what happened? He just overran the ball, lost control of it.
And we have a penalty on the field now, and it'll be to the Sockers for too many men on the field. And Ron Newman has got to be upset with that, as his defenders got crisscrossed on a line change coming back after that rush toward the Minnesota goal. So now the Sockers give Minnesota a power play and have them a chance, or hand them a chance really, to erase a 1-0 Sockers lead. And wouldn't you know, it was right after we talked about penalties.
Well, just a mistake that time, not a physical mistake, a mistake of commission, if you will, and it's going to cost perhaps the Sockers for the next 2 minutes. They're going to have to play shorthanded.
Of course, they're one of the best teams in the league playing shorthanded. Sockers had the best penalty killing record mark in the MISL during the regular season. In the playoffs, they're killing them off at 69.4%. Coker goes to the box to serve the penalty for too many men on the field. And now the strikers go on the power play with 3:39 left in the first period. Minnesota's power play has been good. They've scored 15 times on 40 chances. That's almost 40%. David Byrne over to the left side for Lodovegas. Sockers have the no-goal patrol of Namdar, Quinn, Crow, and Covillo. Shot by Byrne hits Quinn and goes out of play for kick in Minnesota. Byrne, number 19, in his first full season in the MISL, had a great regular season of 51 points, and that is as good a debut as you would hope from anyone. Byrne will take the pass from the corner. Now it's Goossens in front, and a chance for Willie, and it sailed right past the open side. Quinn looking to steal. He controls it, knocks it ahead for Namdar. Cha-Cha in a race with David Byrne, but Byrne will get there first and collect it back in the Minnesota zone. Ahead to Lodovegas. 1:20 left in the power play. Lodovegas at the left point, back for Byrne. Byrne ahead for Dangerfield. Now to the right side for Goossens. Back for Byrne. He takes a step, plays it to his left for Lodovegas. Winds up for a shot, but then passes back to Byrne. Now a giveaway as Byrne kicked it right at Namdar. Cha-Cha will pressure as it comes to center with a minute left in the power play. Back comes Byrne. He orchestrates things from the middle to Goossens on the right. Back to Byrne. He'll wind it up. Toe poke. It hit Quinn. Now Lodovegas shot, and that comes up and is headed away by Kevin Crow. Byrne once more. A shot hits Quinn, and that goes back into midfield again. Now 30 seconds left in the power play. Byrne to Willie. Sets up Goossens for a shot that's blocked. Goosens and Quinn collide, foul San Diego. And that's the 5th Sockers foul. They're now 1 away from another penalty. Byrne over to Lodovegas. He'll crank one off Quinn and out of play. Well, that 5th foul hurt because it's got to demoralize the penalty killing unit if they kill this off, only to have another foul. Well, they haven't put up the 5th foul yet. Right now they show 4. That should have been the 5th foul.
The scoreboard does show 4, and I've got 5, Randy, so they're really going to have to take care of the next 158 to not get themselves in another one-man short situation.
Now the corner kick. Chris Dangerfield. Stands over the ball. Back for Lodovegas. He'll play it back for Byrne. Byrne winds up, shoots, and it comes off the wall wide. Quinn will get it back for Clavillo, and the Sockers should kill this off. Clavillo loses it, but Quinn will get it back and into the goal area for Jim Gorsuch. Now 4 seconds left in the penalty. Jimmy will toss it to midfield for Segota, and he's fouled by Jan Goosens. And the penalty expires as they now put it to 5 fouls. So the Sockers kill off the penalty, but they still have 1:37 to go in this period at 5 fouls. That foul for the Strikers, their 3rd. And the teams will make a change now as Newman gets the no-goal patrol off the field and gets a somewhat more offensive-minded group out there. Segota joins Coker and Ladouceur. Ladouceur, basically your designated marker. He'll go out there to try and win the ball back if the Sockers lose it. And he showed in Game 6 he can also score. Jim Gorsuch with the ball with 1:30 left in the opening period. A pass to Coker. Addy will head it down. Luteri way out of the goal. Chips it to midfield. It hits Dan Cantor. Hudson trying to knock it forward, but it's intercepted by Schmetzer, or by Ladouceur. Now Thompson heads it back for Schmetzer and on to Gorsuch. Everybody watching that foul clock on the San Diego lineup as Gorsuch tries to kill as much time as he can. Plays it back to Collier. Now back to Gorsuch, and there's a minute to go. Coker heads it forward, and the foul against Ladouceur for the dangerous kick, and that's the 6th foul. And the rest of the Sockers giving Ladouceur a little grief over on the bench after he went up with the high kick and commits the 6th foul. So now we get another power play, Minnesota. And the way their power play was clicking in the earlier parts of the series, while the Sockers have done better against it recently, you hate to give them too many chances.
No, you really can't, because you give any team, I don't care what their ratio is on the power play situation, you give them one too many chances, they're going to take advantage of it.
The guy to watch for on the power play is Goosens for Minnesota. He leads their power play unit with 5 power play goals. Under a minute to go in the period. Here's Lodovegas playing it through the box. On the rebound, it's Quinn stealing it for the Sockers. He'll knock it to midfield for Clavillo, off the boards, but Fernando gets a bad hop, and it'll come back to David Byrne. The other thing, of course, this penalty killing unit has got to be a little weary after just killing a 2-minute penalty. Willie a shot. This will go wide. The rebound to Lodovegas. Should have been a handball, but they missed it. Back to Lodovegas. Forced into the corner for Dangerfield, and a weak shot that Gorsuch handles easily with 15 seconds left in the period. Gorsuch tosses it way up high, off the head of Goosens, toward the Minnesota end. Segota then bumps Goosens along the wall. No foul given. Here's Byrne up the wing for Willie, and time runs out as he shoots, and Gorsuch stops it. So that's the end of the first period here on the simulcast. Quinn's goal stands up, and through one, the Sockers lead Minnesota 1-0. Rich, first period of a championship game, often a tentative one as we expected. Sockers so far not in any trouble as a result of the penalties, but they've got to stay away from that.
Well, you start getting into the crunch time, that in the third and the fourth quarters, that's when you really have to watch out. But because mistakes in Game 7s are magnified simply because of the game and what it means, no one wants to make a mistake. No one wants to make that silly penalty. No one wants to get caught with that extra man on the field. No one wants to get caught being upfield when they should be back defending. Those are the things, the pressures that come about in Game 7 that both teams must fight on right now, the pressures.
And ironically, the Sockers in that first period made two crucial mistakes. One, the too many men on the field, which is strictly their mistake. And secondly, perhaps you could blame Ladouceur for going in with a high kick when he knew they were at 5 fouls. But in the heat of action, it's often difficult to make that judgment of whether or not the foot is up high enough to draw the foul or not. Obviously, in that case, the officials felt it was. So still 1:05 left in the Minnesota power plays. We now start the second period. 1-0 Sockers on the goal by Quinn from Addy Coker at 7:08. Sockers outshot the Strikers 12-5 in the first period. Here's Quinn with a shorthanded steal, and he takes it into the Minnesota zone, and down the right side, he's got Segota. Quinn for Bronco, and he just missed a chance to make it 2-0. Segota pressuring Goossens back in that Minnesota zone, but he fouls number 11. But probably a good foul to take because it gives him a chance to get back to the bench and get Namdar back on, who is, of course, part of the penalty-killing unit. They will bring Segota on shorthanded when they get possession back. 30 seconds left to go in the power play as Lodovegas has it at the left point. Back for David Byrne. He takes a few steps back to Lodovegas. To Byrne again. He'll shoot, and Gorsuch with the save. Dangerfield was coming in for a rebound. Jim gave up a little one, but not enough. Here's V. Taken away with a nice slide tackle by Lodovegas in midfield. He'll come to the red line. Julie grabbed onto the jersey. There was no call. Now Lodovegas with 4 seconds left in the power play. Through the legs of V back to Lodovegas. He'll wind up, chip it to the box. Gorsuch saves it. And Coker's out of the penalty box, and Gorsuch didn't see him. And Jimmy made a big mistake there. A chance for Coker to break out of the penalty box and in on goal, and Gorsuch simply missed it.
Addy Coker waving his hands like crazy to try to get Jim's attention, but Jim looking over the other side that time.
All these things magnified, as you so astutely pointed out, Chuck, in a championship game. In another game, we probably wouldn't make a big deal of that. Here is Koutsoukas. Back to the point for Etherington. Teams now at even strength. Ball knocked down by Namdar. It'll come back to Minnesota. Greg Thompson at the right side to Usean. Coker watching him as Usean dancing back and forth with it. Shoots. It's off Addy up in the air. Now into the penalty area. Collier trying to head it out. Thompson goes up with Namdar. Koutsoukas is fouled as Collier came around with a kick that hit him in the chest. And that'll be the second Sockers foul to start this second period as Alan Merrick looks on. A good free kick chance for the Strikers at the edge of the penalty area. Thompson's shot hits Namdar, and they will give a foul. Minnesota away from the ball. I didn't see what that was for.
I really didn't either. I hope the referees let them play tonight. I hope the game is not decided by the guys with the whistles.
Well, so far they've called 2 penalties on the Sockers, both of which were justified, neither of which the Strikers were able to capitalize upon. It's still 1-0 as Gorsuch this time finds Coker in midfield. Addy will knock it back to Brian Schmetzer. Schmetzer to center. Ahead for Segota, who has not had a good final series. He missed the first 2 games with injury and has really struggled for the most part against Minnesota. He has not broken out with the big Bronco Segota-esque type of game that he had in the Tacoma series.
You have to wonder about Bronco. Is all that traveling starting to catch up with him, splitting his time between the Sockers and the Canadian national team trying for the World Cup. You have to wonder about him, and also Tino Lettieri faced with the same situation.
Lettieri has done all kinds of traveling. Back and forth, up to Canada, back to Minnesota, back to San Diego. Now Gorsuch, a toss to Perez. That's intercepted. It's Koutsoukas. Tripped up from behind by Schmetzer, and that's a foul. Well, the Sockers up to 3 fouls now, and we've played less than 3 minutes of the second period. 1-0 the score. We're live at the Sports Arena in San Diego. A sellout crowd, and this game sold out faster than any in San Diego Soccer's history. A mere 3 hours on Saturday morning, and all 12,800 plus seats were gone. Segota with the ball in his own zone for San Diego. Brings it up to midfield with Collier and Ladouceur. Pass to Collier. Jacques will come down the left side now, and the pass for him knocked down by Lodovegas. Coker will hold it while the Sockers make a line change. Now it's Kevin Crowe with Quinn. Quinn played his heart out in Game 6. He was player of the game by far. And that old adage about Brian Quinn that he is the machine or the heart of the Sockers machine continues to be proven time and time again by Quinn, who was fouled by Lota Vegas in the Minnesota zone. And now a free kick, San Diego. Segota stands over the ball out there with Coker, Crowe, Quinn, and Schmetzer. Bronco drives one, and it deflects wide. And with Segota's shot, even if it deflects, there's no telling what can happen with so much velocity on it.
Well, even with Bronco in a scoring slump, Randy, he is still going to just have to go out and if the shot's there, take it, because eventually it's going to go in for him.
Strikers get it back in San Diego territory now. Mike Jeffries into the right corner. Played in front by Fogarty, but kicked back out by Schmetzer. Here's Addy Coker. Ahead for Segota. Tried to feed it through for Kevin Crowe. It hit a leg and came back to Bronco. Now he works it to the point for Addy Coker. Coker back for Quinn. Bryan draws Mike Jeffries as a marker. Now Crowe feeds it ahead for Coker. Addy back out to the point for Kevin Crowe. Segota standing in the penalty area, marked by Lota Vegas. Here's Quinn chipping it ahead for Bronco. Tripped up at the front of the box, no foul. Comes back to Quinn. Bryan sends it ahead for Kevin Crowe. Crowe makes a run, plays it into the corner for Segota. Bronco back for Kevin, left footer into the arms of Tino Lettieri. Now 10-13 left in the first half. At halftime, Sockers president Bob Bell will join us. Here's Alan Willey to Goosens. He'll wind one up, and Gorsuch with his first big save of the game. Goosens, one of the hardest shooters in the league, along with the likes of Segota and Perez. Here's Goosens again with Willey. Tries to get it back to Jeffries, does. His shot deflects wide, and it'll come down to Brian Quinn. Quinn out to Segota. Watched by Fogarty, who knocks it away, but back to Crowe. Now to midfield. Perez miskicks it. It drops down to Alan Willey, and the Strikers will set up. It's Usean with Willey, Byrne, and Etherington. This is a powerful lineup. Here's Usean's shot. Went through Crowe's legs on the rebound. Kicked out by Kevin. Back across the red line. Still 1-0 Sockers on the first period goal by Brian Quinn. Byrne has it knocked free. Willey gets it back for Thompson. His pass for Byrne knocked away. Here's Clavillo up to midfield. Knocked away by Usean, and back for Gary Etherington. He'll send a long pass in for David Byrne. 1-on-4, and he gives it away to Schmetzer as the ball hit the referee, Marty Templin. Schmetzer trying to go up the right side, but you see him doing a fine job getting back to steal that. Thompson over to Etherington. Both teams changing on the run, just like they do in hockey, changing on the go, although it's a lot easier to make a fast change in soccer because you can run off that bench. It's a lot harder to get the steam up skating. You don't come off flying, but you can come up about half speed running off the bench.
Yeah, and in hockey, most times they just jump right on over because they don't have time to get through the door.
A block in the San Diego zone, but the Strikers get the bounce. It comes back to Katsoukas. Now Gary Etherington at midfield. Lettieri's all the way up to the red line as it's played forward for Hudson. His pass for Byrne rolls past and on to Gary Collier, who lets it go to Gorsuch. Ahead to midfield for Perez. He was knocked aside by Greg Thompson. Officials missed it. Sockers with 3 fouls, Minnesota with 2. Strikers hanging in tough here, still just trailing by a goal. Lota Vegas knocked away by Julie V, but Lota Vegas recovers, pushes it to the boards for Willey. Willey drawing it out. Collier sticks a leg out to knock it away. Now it's Hudson. Back out for Thompson. Edge of the area, and it'll roll back in for Jim Gorsuch. But we're going to get a penalty.
They're going to say Jim Gorsuch was out of the box, I believe.
It will be to Gorsuch for handling the ball outside the area. And the Sockers get called for their 3rd penalty. The Strikers don't have any. We also get an official's timeout on the field. 7:32 left in the second period. 1-0 Sockers. starting at 5:30 with the Jokers Wild, followed at 6 by the new Tic-Tac-Toe. Then at 6:30, it's Dick Clark's exciting $100,000 pyramid. The fun never stops on TV 69. Don't miss it. Now a penalty to the Sockers for handball by Jim Gorsuch outside the area. Comes at 7:28. And now a great free kick for the Strikers and a chance to take advantage of another San Diego miscue.
Well, again, when it's 1-0 right now, and every mistake could turn out to be a big one. This is certainly something the Sockers have to be wary of for the next couple of minutes. Addy Coker will spend the 2 minutes in the box.
And the free kick right at the edge of the San Diego area, just a few feet away from the back wall and the side of the box. Lodavega stands over it, back for Koutsoukis, and his shot is blocked by Kevin Crow. Kevin chasing down the rebound along the boards. Koutsoukis has it knocked away by Quinn. And now the Sockers will drop back in their penalty-killing formation. Quinn, Clavillo, Crow, and Namdar. They've killed off 2 already. And they lead 1-0. Koutsoukis now working in the middle. Shot kicked out by Kevin Crow. Rebound back down to Lodovegas. 7 minutes to go in the period. Here's Goossens winding up, and they score. And it's 1-1, and the Sockers cannot take the penalties with that kind of frequency eventually, and usually 1 out of 3 times you're going to pay, and that's exactly what happens as Goossens ties it.
And Goossens that time just got a free ball and drilled it home. But again, you point out, Randy, they get to put themselves in that own situation with a handball called on Gorsuch. Goossens just cranks it up off the rebound, high to the right side, and Jim Gorsuch had no chance at all.
Crow was moving right in front of Gorsuch at the time as well. May have screened him a little bit. So we're tied at 1 here in this championship game in the second period. Collier from the kickoff sends it deep for Julie V and Addy Coker. Coker brings it out. Double teamed. Turns it around, tries to go to the corner where he is fouled. And that's Minnesota's 3rd foul. Free kick Sockers. Along the boards is V out there with Coker, Collier, Schmetzer, and Quinn. Julie feeds it out to Collier. He scores! Gary Collier got all of this one, Chuck.
This man is not called on to score too often, but he cranks up the right foot this time and stones Lettieri to the short side, and the Sockers bounce back and get the momentum back at 2-1.
Talking about bouncing back, that ball was bouncing just ever so slightly, and that gives it the extra speed. If the ball's in the air when he hits it, it's like a drop kick. You can really get something on it, and Collier nailed that one. 2-1 Sockers, and what a way to snuff out the expectations of the Strikers after tying on the power play. Byrne now for Minnesota as they come back. 2-1 San Diego, 6:15 left in the period. This is Fogarty at the right point. V will get the assist on the goal by Collier at 8:17. Collier's only other goal in the playoffs was in overtime against St. Louis. A mix-up by the Strikers as Etherington and Koutsoukis collide, but the ball comes back to Fogarty. He'll send it to Koutsoukis at the red line. Hermes takes it away from him. Here's Schmetzer to midfield for V. Julie past Ken Fogarty. Here's V with Hermes on the other wing. V cuts it back. Wad sets up. Will he get a shot? No, it's kicked away by Koutsoukis. Wad hustling back, but it'll come to midfield for Byrne. Good rush by V down the field. But the Strikers also deserve credit for getting back defensively in such a hurry. Here's Fogarty at the point. Sends it ahead for Willie. He's good at turning and shooting, Alan Willie. He's got that great pivot move, as V is known for. Lodovegas bends it into the corner for Goossens. That was his 6th power play goal, Goossens. A shot comes off the wall. It's chested down by Quinn. He's kicked from behind by Hudson, but there's no foul. Teams with 3 fouls each. Goossens again. In front, and a chip by Hudson right at Jimmy. Now the Sockers change on the run. It comes to Quinn. Fogarty takes it away. And for a defender, he is very sure-footed, Ken Fogarty.
Fogarty is. He's a gamer. We pointed it out earlier. Ron Newman really likes him. He's a professional in every sense of the word. He knows what his role is on this team, and he plays it to the best of his ability.
Fogarty, 31 years of age, one of the elder statesmen on the Minnesota team. Quinn now with a steal for San Diego. In midfield, he'll get it free to Segota. Bronco lost it, and it'll come back to Goosens in the Strikers' defensive third. Now it's back to midfield. Thompson gets it past Ladouceur. At the boards, he's pressured, weaves his way out of trouble and works it to Usian. Now here's a chance for Minnesota, but a good job by Ladouceur. Got a foot on the ball and allowed the defense to shore up a little bit in the back. Lodovegas, nice move. Shot, save, rebound, another save. Two great moves by Gorsuch. Segota to midfield. Perez is there. Bronco and Hugo back to the middle. Segota on his back. And as he was falling, his shot was blocked by Lodovegas. Sockers with a great counterattack that time. Just unable to put it in. Still 2-1 San Diego as we approach the 3:40 mark of the second period. That's 3:40 remaining. Hope you're enjoying our live simulcast on TV 69 and KLZZ San Diego as Hermes comes back into the Minnesota zone. It's cleared back to Letary. Hermes nearly with a steal. Hermes all over the field. He's a hustler and really creates a lot of chances by pressuring. Now we get a foul in midfield. This will be against San Diego.
Boy, Sockers missed a golden opportunity just a moment ago when Gorsuch stopped both Lodovegas and Willie. And then the Sockers counterattacking coming on down, and Perez and Segota not able to hook it up together, but almost a big play by the Sockers.
Again, Perez was not expected to be back for this game. Suffered a knee injury earlier in the series, which we thought would keep him out for the rest of the playoffs. Gary Etherington at midfield for the Strikers. He'll send it ahead for David Byrne. Gets to it before Schmetzer does. Byrne still with it. Into the middle for Mike Jeffries. Makes a move, shoots, and it's blocked by Collier. And that will go out of play, I guess, off Jeffries because it comes back San Diego ball. Again, our halftime show coming up when Chuck will visit with Sockers president Bob Bell. And we're also we also remind you to stay with us after the game. We will present the MISL Championship Trophy goings on. That will happen on the field here. And if the Sockers win, we will be in the locker room. And that's always a very wet scene. It has been for the last 4 years. The Sockers going for their 5th consecutive indoor championship tonight. Or as they've been calling it, one for the thumb.
Well, we do know this. Champagne will be flowing in someone's locker room, and tears will be flowing in the other.
Coker heading it forward for Julie B, but it's cleared back for Tino Letary. Now Coker steals it back up for Julie. Nice job by Etherington heading it down, but Coker is there again. Back to the point for Quinn. His pass for V, stolen by Etherington, who just laid back and then stepped in front at the last second. And that's the good way to defense against Julie V, because he posts up in front, and if you can get to the ball just before he makes his move, you've, in essence, shut down V up front. Byrne chests it down. There was a handball, and they call it the other way. No, now he changes his mind and gives it foul against Minnesota. So the team's at 4 fouls each. 2-1, San Diego leading. Goals by Quinn and Collier. Goosen scored on the power play for Minnesota. Quinn looks forward, sees nothing, drops back into midfield. Now he'll chip it up the right wing for V. His header back through the middle for Coker, but it wasn't really to the middle. It came to the end wall. Now Lodovegas to center. Nice pass to Greg Thompson into the penalty area. Crow jumps up, heads it down. Here's Quinn to midfield for V. Julie will go to the boards, try to bump it ahead for Crow, but a good job by Lodovegas. Now Crow again up in the air, and he'll head it back into his own zone. Kevin has played an outstanding first half.
Well, he really has. Defensively, I think just about everybody is. It's hard to blame one particular person on the goal by Goosens, but defensively, that doing a marvelous job, and they need to do a marvelous job to win this thing tonight. Here's
Willie to midfield. He ran into V. Sockers change on the run as Namdar comes on and immediately makes a steal. Perez gets it out to Crow. Here's Kevin with Cha-Cha. The pass to Namdar on the right wing. He'll wait for it, go to the corner, banks it off the boards, and Fogarty knocked it down. Namdar with it again. Out to Crow, and he gave it away to Hudson. That was a good chance squandered there. Quinn and Willie battling. Willie gets around Schmetzer, and then he's tripped. That'll be 2 minutes. It's got to be 2 minutes. And the Sockers, with 47 seconds left in the half, will go to the penalty box for the 4th straight time. And Willie wincing a little bit after that takedown by Schmetzer. And really, the referee didn't have much choice there. He's got to call that penalty.
No doubt about it. He has to. Not a good penalty that time at all by the Sockers, and they're going to, for the next 2 minutes, or pay the price. They'll do it for the last 47 seconds here of the half, and then you come back for about the next minute and a half to start off the 3rd quarter. You cannot just continually play shorthanded and try to stay in a game.
So now another power play for the Strikers. They send out Goosens, of course, Willie, Koutsoukis, Lodovegas, and Dangerfield. It'll be free kick, right point side by Goosens to start out the power play. And Ron Newman sends that now familiar group out of Quinn, Clavillo, Namdar, and Crow to kill it off. As Schmetzer will spend 2 for tripping at 14-13. Goosens back for Koutsoukis in the slot. Off to the left is Lodovegas. He'll take the pass. Back for Koutsoukis with 40 seconds in the period and the first half. A chip. This will go off someone. Edge of the penalty area. Dangerfield falls. Here's Quinn trying to get it. Willie with a shot. Gorsuch to save, and the rebound cleared out by Clavillo. 20 seconds now to go in the period. Koutsoukis on the run, pushes it to Lodovegas. His shot sails wide. Goosens will get it down to Koutsoukis again. He'll push it to Lodovegas once more. Another shot, high this time. And with 8 seconds left, it comes back to Goosens. He's going to crank one. This is up in the air and out of play with 2 seconds left. And the Strikers will get it back, kick in. They may pull Tino for an extra attacker here, and they will. Either that or push Lettieri into the attacking zone and use him as an extra forward. Now they'll go with David Burns. So with 2 seconds left here, the type of strategy Ron Newman uses, Alan Merrick will do so as well. And now the Strikers take a timeout. So they will use the 60-second timeout here to talk about strategy and set up their extra attacker situation. And actually, it's a 2-man advantage with the Sockers off on a penalty as well. So now the kick in from the far boards. Koutsoukis standing over it. Takes the shot. It's knocked down by Gorsuch. On the rebound, it's wide. And the period will end with the Sockers leading. A big ovation as San Diego's 4-time, hoping to be 5-time champion Sockers head to the locker room. We're at the half. It's San Diego 2, Minnesota 1. And we'll be back with halftime activities in a moment. Shorthanded for another 45 seconds as a result of an earlier penalty. Dangerfield a shot. Got underneath Gorsuch, but he sat on it. Any way you can. Gorsuch tossing it to midfield, looking for Segota, who came on the field for offense, but it's given away. Here's Lodovegas. Comes down the wing. Stops with 25 to go in the power play. Back to Koutsoukis. Now a bouncer into the corner. Quinn pressures Goosens. The ball will drop down to Segota. Bronco trying to get it out of trouble. Has it kicked away by Goosens. Clavillo had sprinted to midfield. Now 10 left in the power play. Probably the last chance here for Minnesota. Koutsoukis a long pass for Dangerfield. Rebound Goosens, and Gorsuch ducked. That one went wide. Here's Segota. 2-on-1 with Quinn. Bronco to Brian Quinn. Back for Segota. Score!
the Sockers again on a counterattack. Korsic, first off, actually Segota, and you'll see Segota teaming up with Brian Quinn. Back out to Segota, drills it to the right side past Lettieri, and makes it 3-1 Sockers as they come back on a counterattack after almost giving up a goal to Minnesota.
And those here in the sports arena, while it's early in the third period, are starting to sense what some felt was the inevitable all along. 3-1 Sockers. 13:35 to go in the third. Perez will take it deep in his own zone. He'll play it to midfield for Wad Hermes on the run down the right side. Wad, with 2 men to beat, plays it back wisely to Hugo Perez. Perez now cuts it inside, but he falls. Back out to midfield for Schmetzer. The goal to Segota, his 13th of the playoffs. Quinn will draw the assist at 1:18. And the Sockers lead 3-1. Here's Schmetzer back the other way. Back for Ladouceur. And that goal would have been, was it shorthanded? I don't believe it was. It came 5 seconds after the penalty had expired, but as good as shorthanded because the Sockers were able to exploit the opportunity on the counterattack. Here's Ladouceur down the left side into the corner for Segota. Back out for Jacques in the midfield for Kevin Crowe. Well, twice in a row now, Chuck, as the ball comes to Lettieri. Twice in a row the Sockers have killed a penalty off and come right, or actually been involved in a penalty and come right back to score. Once after the power play goal by Minnesota, now after killing one off.
And that was something they did in Game 6 to, of course, get into a Game 7. And right now, they're whatever little chance they've been getting, they've been taking advantage of, like right here, maybe.
Here's Namdar with Coker 2-on-2. Cha-cha. Nice move around Lodovegas. Winds it up. Holds it. Then he's boarded by Burns. 11:58 to go in the third. 3-1 Sockers. Here's Clavillo. He'll wind up. Deflection, but into the arms of Lettieri. Now here's Lodovegas. To midfield. Stolen by Quinn, but it came right back to Lodovegas. Coker goes in hard with Fogarty. They get tangled up, but there's no foul. Now a collision in midfield. The play goes on. Here's Quinn. Breaks out with V and Kevin Crowe. Quinn will walk with it. Now play it to his left for Perez. Hugo takes on UC, and then shot went off the shoulder of Lettieri and out of play for San Diego ball. Oh, Perez that time lifted one upstairs, and Tino just got his right shoulder on it. And while Perez might be hurting, and it is his left knee hurting, he put some juice on that shot. Now corner kick Sockers. To the right of Tino Lettieri. Hermes, left footer, and that hits Lodovegas and comes out of play. And it'll be back kick in San Diego. Hermes with 6 power play goals. That is one short of the MISL playoff record held by Pat Erkley of Baltimore. He had 7 last year. And Steve Jungle had 7 one year with the New York Arrows. Of course, any scoring record in this league tends to have Steve Jungle's name associated with it. At least all offensive records. Now here's Quinn on the kick in. Back to Clavillo. Now back to Quinn again. V is posted up in front. He'll take the pass right edge of the penalty area, chase it back, play it to Collier. Now Clavillo at midfield. Sockers playing with a 2-goal lead. They have lost only once in their history in this building in the playoffs, and that was to Minnesota earlier in the series. Quinn will take one from way out. It bounces off the wall, and the Strikers will control it. Greg Thompson bursting down the right wing with Alan Willie. It hit Clavillo, but it comes back to Hudson. Good attack by Minnesota from the left side. Lodovegas will cut it back to the middle where it's knocked down, and it'll be cleared back for Jim Gorsuch. Toss to midfield for Julie V. He'll chest it down with Segota and Quinn. Julie to Quinn. He stops it, shoots, and it's blocked by Willie. Rebound will come back to Quinn. Here's Clavillo at the right point. Sockers changing on the go. A ball played in for Julie V. It'll take a bounce off the boards. He'll control it, poke it out the wing, but right to David Byrne. V hustles back to get off the field. And Hermes will come back on as they're now switching. Byrne at midfield. To his right for Lota Vegas. 3-1 San Diego. We're in the third period live. Lota Vegas down the right wing. Shot blocked by Hermes. Rebound, Clavillo trying to clear it up for Jacques Ladouceur. He's in a race down the left side with Matt Kennedy, and he's taken to the boards, and that'll be a foul. Well, that could have been 2 minutes right there, but it goes foul.
Boy, Jack really goes down hard. Bodies flying all over the place. You can really feel the intensity level peaking now on both sides. Minnesota really having to try to fight back now, being down by 2.
If those shot stats are correct, that's incredible. Here's Segota in the right corner, and they tried to clear it. It went off Lota Vegas back into the slot. Here's Willie over to the far side, and he'll kick it out of play into the San Diego player bench. Well, when the Sockers lead at the half like they were tonight, 2-1, they are 6-2 in the playoffs. And when they lead after 3 periods, they are 7-2. Jacques Ladouceur, a fine regular season. Able to be available to Ron Newman for each and every regular season game. Only Soccer to appear in every game this year. Jacques came on this year after an impressive rookie season last year. Here is Koutsoukis clearing it back for Tino Lettieri. Pass to midfield for Mike Jeffries. Quinn gets a foot on it. Now it's knocked away by Quinn to Segota, but they blow the whistle. That whistle was a little late. First San Diego foul of the period. Strikers have 2 fouls. They play it into David Byrne. Byrne centering it for Fogarty, and he lifts a shot way upstairs, and that'll be a goal kick for Jim Gorsuch. In that second period, Strikers outshot San Diego 14-3. Gorsuch made 6 saves in the period, and through the half, Gorsuch had made 10 saves to Lettieri's 3. Now it's Kevin Crowe. Back for Gorsuch. Toss to midfield for Segota. Headed back the other way by Fogarty. Koutsoukis tries to send it forward, but that's knocked away. Coker then bumped by Etherington, and that's a Minnesota foul. Quick restart out of the back, but they will bring it back and start it out again from midfield. Segota will leave tomorrow for Mexico City and the World Cup. The biggest moment in his life, I'm sure. Canada plays its first game June 1st against France. A ball in the corner for Coker, but Etherington will get it and clear it back for Tino Lettieri, who changed jerseys from the first to second half. He had a yellow one on to start the game. Here's Koutsoukis. Crowe cuts in front of him, knocks it away. Koutsoukis down and hurt as Thompson, you see him, tries to control. We get a whistle, and we are going to get treatment out here for Tasso Koutsoukis, who's down and injured in front of the San Diego penalty area. I think he ran into Crowe because Kevin just cut right in front of Koutsoukis and took the ball off his foot.
I don't think that's any playing acting at all on the part of Koutsoukis. He is really holding on dearly to his right knee.
Koutsoukis came to the Strikers from the Kansas City Comets in a deal that sent John Bain to KC. As we get another look on the telecast, and that's what it was. Crowe just stepped right in front, cut him off at the pass, and Koutsoukis is writhing in pain on the field.
Koutsoukis gets spun around. Looks like he really twisted that right knee.
Not many empty seats here at the Sports Arena. It was a sellout back on Saturday morning. And I'll tell you, anybody who had tickets for this game today or had extra tickets had a lot of friends.
Oh, boy, you better believe they had a lot of friends. Toughest seat in the city, that's for sure.
We're going to take a break. 8:48 left in the third period. 3-1. Sockers leading, and we'll be back in a moment. The Sockers, they lead 3-1. A great pass ahead for Brian Quinn. It's over, and he scores! 4-1. What a pass by Gorsuch to Brian Quinn, Chuck.
Jimmy Gorsuch really did make the play happen because of his great outlet pass. One bounce from Gorsuch. Jimmy just heaving it down the right side. One bounce.
Boy, that was awfully close to 3 lines. I think it hit the line.
But a perfect lead pass to Brian Quinn, who goes to the open side of the net.
If you're watching us, we'll see it again and maybe see how close it was to that line. Right on the line. And then Quinn with another bouncing ball, and that gives it the velocity. 4-1 as Quinn has his 3rd point. And I'll tell you what, if the Sockers win this, Brian Quinn could very well be their playoff MVP. Now we get a foul, San Diego in the Sockers zone. That's the Sockers' 3rd of the period. 8:16 left here in the 3rd period. It's now 4-1. Quinn has 2 goals and an assist. On the restart, a deflection by Goossens, but he stopped it too much, and it just rolled harmlessly to Gorsuch. Now it's Collier, pressured by Alan Willie. They get it back to Gorsuch. But as we saw earlier in this series, Chuck, a 3-goal lead against Minnesota wasn't enough. Sockers were ahead by 3 at the half in a game and lost 4-3.
Sockers really have to like their chances, though, Randy, because they're going to force Minnesota to come on out. They can't play defensively now. Open up the field, and that's what the Sockers like. They like to run with reckless abandon.
There's one major difference, too. That game was in Minnesota.
Yes.
Here's Ladouceur ahead for Hugo Perez. Dribbling with it, takes it back to midfield, feeds it to Collier. He was bumped after the pass. Now to Coker, his header on goal, and Lettieri grabs it, then drops it as Hugo Perez went by and may have hit him. Pass to midfield goes the other way to Alan Willie. Quickly, 3 Sockers there to mark him. Back for Hudson. Up the wing for Goossens. Lays it down nicely. Hudson miskicks on the rebound, gets another chance, but sends it wide. Schmetzer trying to get it out. Gave it up at the red line to Lodovegas. Now to Goossens. Goossens on the wing. Back to Lodovegas at the left point. Now across. Coker with a block. Hudson coming back. Gave it away to Addy again, and Hugo Perez will control for the Sockers. Both teams changing on the fly as Perez comes to midfield. Beal take the pass coming off the long end of the bench. Julie stopping it in front. Drawing it back for Perez. The toe poke, and it's out of play. And the Sockers get a big round of applause as we get an official's timeout on the field. And the wheels must be going round in the heads of all these strikers who had San Diego down 3-1, coming home down 3-2. All they had to do was win 1 out of 3. The Sockers had to do the unthinkable, win 3 in a row. And now they are nearly 3/4 of the way there. This is Gary Etherington for Minnesota. To midfield. It'll come back for Thompson. You see it. 2 men up deep, forechecking for San Diego. It comes back to Fogarty. He'll slip it to midfield for Koutsoukis. But it's given away to Namdar. Back through the middle for Julie V. The pass just about there for Julie. Just rolled past him. Fogarty will get it back. Now it's Etherington. Behind his own red line to center for Usean. Back for Fogarty. Now to the near side for Koutsoukis. Ahead for Thompson. Usean. Cuts back to the inside. Quinn coming in. Forces him to go to midfield with it again. With under 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Strikers on a line change. That was too many men on the field. And now the strikers get burned by a penalty. Both Etherington and Lodovegas were on the carpet at the same time trying to make a change, and it don't work that way.
No, Etherington really had kind of a sheepish look on his face, like a kid getting caught with his hand in a cookie jar that time.
Gino DiPolito, the referee, unfortunately for Minnesota, was right there. And he calls it. So we get the Sockers' first power play and a chance to go up 5-1. And 5-1, to me, would seem to be enough. So now Ron Newman sends out the power play unit as Fogarty goes to serve the bench penalty, coming at 9:09 for too many men on the field. Ron Newman sends out Perez with Coker, Hermes, B, and Clavillo. The Strikers' first penalty of this game. They will send out Mike Jeffries and Dan Cantor, who are penalty killing specialists for Alan Merrick, along with Etherington and Thompson. Sockers power play not too shabby either in the playoffs, 35%. That is better than in the regular season. Gorsick starts out along the left wing boards to kick it in. He'll play it to Julie V. Now to Segota. Bronco controls it at midfield, ahead for Addy Coker. He'll lay it off at the left point for Perez, back for V. Julie over to Wad Hermes. He'll knock it back to Segota. Bronco to Waddy again on the run, and the shot blocked. Segota on the rebound, drives one wide. Perez will take it at the boards. To the left point for Julie V. Sockers on the power play with 5:24 left in the third. Here's Perez, far post. Hermes controlling, shooting left foot. It hit Coker and came back out. Strikers will clear it to midfield. Segota gets to it and bumps it back for Jim Gorsick. And back of the play, we have a foul against Hermes on Mike Jeffries. So the Sockers take their third foul of the period. Comes with 5:16 left in the third. Dan Cantor on the kick in to Jeffries. Tino outside the area, banks it off the glass. Here's the header by Hermes. And Wad called for a foul after he headed it at the goal. I don't see how the foul could have gone against Hermes there, but it did. It's the fourth against San Diego. And there's still 5:05 left. Lettieri, wasting time, fires it to midfield for Jeffries. Thompson keeps it for Minnesota as they have a minute left now on the power play. Sockers do. Here's Thompson across the red line. Good ball control, but then it's tipped away. Coker to midfield for Hermes. Waddy with Segota. The pass for Bronco, blocked. Rebound will come to center for Julie V. V in the slot. Off to the left side for Perez. Strikers doing a good job here against the power play. Hugo in the corner, banks it off the glass. It takes a big carom. Hermes trying to control it, but David Byrne will get it. Byrne weaving in his own zone, gave it up to Perez. Here's Hugo with Julie V. Perez will shoot off the ball, and it came back to Jeffries. V was coming in for a rebound. Hugo tried to play it delicately off that end wall, but it came off a little too hard. Now Wilrich comes on the field for one of the few times in this game, as Segota will bring it up the middle. Pass to Gene on the left. Deep for V. Coming in is Coker. Addy miskicked a bouncing ball. Lettieri will run it to midfield. Tino plays it ahead for Etherington, but rather than go forward, Etherington comes back into midfield. He only had one man to beat. Now the penalties expired. The teams are at even strength. Still 4-1 Sockers with 3:40 left in the third period. Fogarty over to the right wing for Lodovegas. He'll bump it ahead for Etherington. Make that Dangerfield. Back for Lodovegas. Now a run by Koutsoukas. He'll take it. Cut to the middle. Left footer. Blocked by Willie. Rebound to the edge of the penalty area. And Dangerfield caroms it off the boards into Gorsick's arms. Another great toss. This is to Segota. In on goal. And Tino stops it as Segota crashes into the wall at the other end. He's holding his head as he went into the wall very heavily. They won't stop play. Here's Koutsoukas back the other way. Knocked off his foot by Clavillo. Finally we get the whistle. And now they will see to Segota down at the other end, who is hurt.
Bronco really caught the back of his head on the boards right next to Lettieri, just to Lettieri's left, in fact. And Bronco is still down. Ted Wallace, the trainer, checking Bronco out right now. Took a heck of a spill, went crashing into the boards, rolled around, and then hit the back of his head. Bronco looks like he's going to be okay. He's getting up.
Segota wanted a penalty. They didn't give it. He is battered and bruised out there. And can't believe the lack of a call. So now we get the free kick strikers down at the other end. The teams with 4 fouls each. 3:04 left in the third. It's 4-1 San Diego. A drop ball in the San Diego defensive third. Lota Vegas and V standing over it as Gino DiPolito prepares to drop it down. On the drop ball, it comes to Kutsukas, front of the penalty area. He chests it down to Fogarty at the red line. Now over to Lota Vegas. Back over to the right side for Kutsukas. Willie is standing in the penalty area. Kutsukas fires it off the wall, but Gorsuch got enough of it. And then it's cleared by Quinn down the other end to Lettieri. Tino standing at his own red line, sends it ahead for Fogarty. Back to the middle, he gave it away to Julie V. A man on, V will send Namdar down the left side. Cha-Cha goes to the corner. Marked tightly by Fogarty, and wisely plays it back out to midfield. Now it's Quinn, chipping it ahead for Julie V, but Lota Vegas wins that and clears it back to Lettieri. Now the strikers have got to start to open up. A goal here in the third period would give them some momentum going into the fourth. Here's Thompson at the edge of the area, and Usean is stopped by Gorsuch. Another chance, and Jimmy's got it again.
Jim Gorsuch just playing a tremendous game, stopping Usean twice, once point blank, and he has, whenever had to be called for, he has made some big saves tonight.
Here's Perez down the left side. Slows up, working over Mike Jeffries, and Jeffries with a good block on Hugo's shot. Kick in San Diego with 1:53 left in the third. Again, stay with us. Immediately after tonight's game, we will go down onto the field for the MISL Championship Trophy presentation. The attendance is a sellout, 12,881. Used to be 12,888 here until they expanded the press box a little bit and had to tear out 6 seats or 7 seats. This is Ladouceur. Right point for Clavillo. And he will bring it back to midfield and play it for Gorsuch. Jimmy plays it up for Ladouceur. Good tackle by David Byrne. Ladouceur will get it back to midfield for Segota. Bronco runs into trouble. It'll go back to Etherington, and it's towed to Lettieri. Mike Jeffries at midfield. Kicks it back for Etherington. Neither team on the foul limit. They're both at 4. Here's Thompson. Up the left wing for Kutsukas. Marked tightly by Jacques Ladouceur. Kutsukas brings it out, gets past his man, Segota. But now Bronco digs in defensively. Kutsukas can't go anywhere, and he's bumped off the ball. Here's Byrne. He'll go to the front of the area. Lay it off to the right for Thompson. Blocked by Crow. He'll try and get it to center for Segota. Dangerous kick by Gary Etherington, and that's a foul, Minnesota. And that's their 5th.
Dangerous play by Etherington, I thought, as he came up high with the foot right in front of Segota's face. But Minnesota that time with a golden opportunity to get something going, and then they just stood around and watched Kevin Crow came in and strip the ball away to give it back to the Sockers.
Clavillo will put it into play up to the red line for Ladouceur. His pass goes off the leg, but right to Addy Coker. Now back to the point for Clavillo. Over to Segota left side. Chests it down. Cuts to the middle. Cuts back to the left. On the trailer, a chance for Ladouceur, who tried to feed Coker. Addy goes to the boards. He's double teamed there. And then fouled for the 6th Minnesota foul. So the Sockers get another power play. Well, we would be remiss, Chuck, if we went through tonight's broadcast without mentioning the tremendous crowds in the MISL playoffs this year. Playoff crowds are up 41% over last season. Going into this game, they were averaging 12,000 a game, a 40% increase over last year. As we get another look on the telecast of Coker and Byrne, and then Byrne with the left kick, fouling Addy. Now the Sockers on the power play. Ken Fogarty over to serve the bench penalty again. It's V, Coker, Segota, Hermes, and Perez. It comes out to Hugo at the left side. Now back up high for Wad Hermes. He'll send it to his right for Segota. Back for Wad. He'll wind up, shoot one just wide. 28 to go in the period. Perez will hustle back and send it to midfield. Gorsick bumps it back ahead for Hugo. Now it's Julie V carrying it forward. He'll stop with 18 seconds left. Probably not cognizant of the time. Hermes with a shot, and that just missed. It was headed upstairs. V on the rebound with 10 seconds left. Winds up, shoots, rebound. Segota into the middle. Coker hit the post, and it comes back to Lettieri. Addy coming in late. No foul, and the period ends. Great action in front. But the Sockers go to the fourth period, still hanging on to a 3-goal lead. 4-1 San Diego here in the championship game.
And when they go back home to Minnesota for the vacation.
Well, I know what the Sockers will do tonight. Celebrate.
Yes.
If they can hang on here. Sockers are good at that. They've had some practice now, 4 in a row. They know how to celebrate. They give good party. But let's not write the Strikers out of this yet. We've seen their tendency to come back. But the comeback the Sockers are on the verge now of engineering is one of the greatest ever. The first time a team has ever come back from this far to win in a championship series. This is only the second year that or make it the third year that the MISL has gone to a 7-game championship series. This is the first time out of 3 that it's gone to a 7th game. And the 4th period of Game 7 underway. Sockers are on the power play for another minute 15. This is Bronco Segota. Hermes gives it away to Etherington. Gorsick will come up to the red line and keep it alive. Hope you're enjoying the live simulcast on KTTY TV 69 in San Diego and KLZZ AM 600. V forced to go all the way to the right wing boards. Hermes will chase it down and bump it back for Jim Gorsick with 50 seconds left in the San Diego power play. Here's V.
Sockers right now playing like they're trying to kill off a penalty instead of having a man advantage.
Here's Hermes. Back out to Segota with 30 left in the power play. Back to Hermes, the left footer, and it just missed. Perez on the rebound. V shoots, and Tino's got it. And Julie, 7 out of 10 times, will bury that one into the back of the net. That time Lettieri in the right spot. 15 seconds left in the power play. Dan Cantor with it. He'll knock it to midfield, but right to Segota. Here comes Bronco with Perez and Coker. To Julie V. The shot. Coker's gone! It's time to measure thumbs.
Now there's an old saying in soccer, thou shalt not give up a loose ball in front of the net. And that's exactly what will happen here as Segota to V and Julie off the boards. Lettieri gave up the rebound basically. He had his hands on it, lost it. Coker right there to kick it on by.
And what sweet revenge for Addy Coker to score that on his nemesis, Tino Lettieri. 5-1. Here's another steal. Quinn with B and Namdar. Quinn gets the bounce, but it's Lodovegas getting it back for Minnesota. The goal for Coker is 6th from V at 1:18. Back the other way come the Strikers, but they lose it again. Here's Namdar with V at his right. Julie will take the pass. Chacha goes into the corner. V keeps possession. Holds the ball so well. Back to Collier. Now to the left point for Brian Quinn. 13:05 remaining. The Sockers with what seems now to be an insurmountable 5-1 lead. Foul by Lodovegas. On the restart, Sockers work it into the zone. Quinn trying to keep it alive. Kicks it back to Fogarty, who swats him out of the way. But this time, the foul called against Quinn. Lodovegas pressured by Wad Hermes. Back to Fogarty. Now to his right for Koutsoukis. Tasso Koutsoukis toe poking it ahead for Dangerfield. Now back to Fogarty. Lodovegas from center. Long pass for Koutsoukis. Schmetzer got in the way. And he will send it across the zone for Collier. Now to center for Namdar. Cha-Cha trying to sidestep Fogarty. Quinn after a 50-50 ball. Koutsoukis gets to it. Here's Koutsoukis up the middle. Coker back on defense, blocks it. Collier now with Quinn. Here's Quinn to midfield. In from behind comes Willie. Quinn will just hold up in midfield while the Sockers make a change. This is Perez taking the pass. He'll go to the left. Shoot, and it's wide. Comes off the end wall. Collier tried to get to it, but it was cleared by Jeffries. Ladouceur now knocks it around to midfield for Clavillo with 12 minutes left. Long pass in for Jacques Ladouceur. Tino miskicks this one out of play for a corner kick, San Diego. Clavillo coming into this 7th and deciding game of the championship series as the leading scorer among defenders for San Diego with 10 points. 26 points and 5 shorthanded goals for Clavillo in the regular season. Now on the corner kick, it's B. In front for Fernando, and he tried the back heel shot, but it didn't go through. Lettieri will toss to midfield for Mike Jeffries. Segota back on defense, and they call a foul for pushing off by Bronco. Here's Byrne. He takes it down the right wing into the corner with Segota. Ball comes loose to Byrne in front. Gorsuch stopping Usian. Another chance, and they stop him again. And that ball will not go in for Minnesota. Byrne out of the corner. In front for Usian again, and V kicks it away. V and Usian battling away from the ball. And that'll be a foul against Minnesota as Usian threw an elbow at Julie.
Usian's just got to be flat out frustrated. He has been stoned 3 times in this match by Jim Gorsuch. And then threw the elbow against Julie, and I think it's just frustration starting to show now on the part of some of the Minnesota strikers.
This is Perez in midfield. Plays it ahead for Quinn along the boards. Kicked by Clavillo all the way back to Gorsuch. Jimmy will fire it up for Crow. Crow on the run down the right wing. Goes over top of Usian, who tried to trip him. Gets it to Perez at the left point. Hugo dancing with it, darting with it. Plays it ahead into the corner for Coker, but Addy turned the wrong way. Kazbek-Tambi goes in. So does Perez. Coker double team now, all alone down there. They freeze it. Finally, it comes loose. And a foul, Minnesota. And that's their third. The Sockers lead. We have 10:40 left to go for all intents and purposes in the MISL season. Collier in front, knocked away from him. Schmetzer will get it and clear it back for Gorsuch. Usian coming in fast, won't get to it. It's ahead for Quinn. Quinn to his left for Collier. Sockers position themselves so well. Collier now to the right for Quinn. He gets tangled up. Thompson Usian gets it loose with Byrne. This is a 2-on-1. Usian pushing it too wide for Byrne. Off the boards it comes. Quinn goes into the corner, steals it away. Strikers falling all over the place, and they call a foul against Schmetzer. A dangerous free kick now to the right of Jim Gorsuch. Byrne stands over it for Minnesota. They need 4 goals to tie. Hudson to Fogarty. The bump shot, and Gorsuch has it. And the goal behind Gorsuch has been all but impenetrable. Segota at the red line. To his left for Ladouceur. Sockers want more. Jacques goes around Fogarty. In front for Coker, and Addy missed it. Lodovegas will bring it back out for Minnesota. Coker knocks it back toward the Minnesota net. Lodovegas forced to go back and clear it to Lettieri. Tino Lettieri will also go to Mexico City tomorrow. He will be Canada's goalkeeper at the World Cup. Segota hopes to be their goal scorer. Clavillo carrying it back to Gorsuch again. Toss to midfield. Bronco chesting it down. And the Sockers, in essence, toying with Minnesota now. Here's Clavillo. Up the wing, he chases his own pass. Out of the corner. Turns it back the other way, and he'll clear it to Collier coming off the bench way down in midfield. 9 minutes left as Collier under pressure turns and plays it back for Gorsuch.
Doing an excellent job right now of using the entire field and the clock.
Here's Segota on a break. In on Tino. Segota to V. Back to Bronco. To V. And it's blocked. Oh, boy. Sockers couldn't put it in. Segota at the far boards. And it's knocked away to midfield. Collier will send it back in front for Julie, who got a touch on the ball. It went on goal, but Lettieri stopped it. Now he will throw it over 3 lines, and it'll be San Diego ball. Now, that was one of the few times when the Sockers isolate a goalkeeper and a defender 2 or 3 on 1 and don't score. Lettieri, who's made 9 saves tonight, able to shut down Segota there. And really, Lettieri has done well against Bronco in this series, as we pointed out, although Bronco scored a big goal tonight. Namdar at the boards, trying to get away from Lodovegas, who held his jersey from behind. Nobody saw it, at least the officials didn't. I did. Quinn a shot, that deflects high. Namdar off the edge of the crease, and that's high. Headed back for Tino again. He'll toss a fastball to midfield for Usian. Schmetzer gets back. Ball into the penalty area, and Gorsuch's got it. He'll roll it ahead for Namdar. Cha-Cha. Drops it back to V. Julie chipping it opposite wing for Collier. Gary at the far boards. Now to Namdar, knocked away from him. Here's Usian with Greg Thompson, but he just plays it harmlessly to the goal.
Well, the defense has played so well tonight. Whenever a man gets behind the defense, they just come on up. They cover up well, and they have really helped Jimmy out immensely.
V fouls David Byrne. 4th San Diego team foul in the period. Now 7:38 remaining. Stay with us for the championship presentation at midfield and then the locker room. Dan Cantor losing it to Quinn at the red line. This is Wad Hermes. Wad will chip one. Left wing side for Quinn in the corner. Tino goes to bump it back the other way for Etherington. They'll leave it at the red line for Byrne. Now 7:10 remaining as Byrne comes to midfield, crossing the San Diego red line. To Dan Cantor on the right wing, can't get a shot as Crow gets a piece of it. Back to Ray Hudson. Hudson to Cantor. Pivoting in front of the half circle. Now Byrne a shot blocked by Hermes, and Quinn will kick it out. This is Segota on the right wing. Gets away from Dangerfield, plays it to Hermes. Wad into the left corner. And the foul, Minnesota. No, it's against San Diego. That's the 5th Sockers foul, so they're 1 away from the penalty. Here's Byrne to midfield for Hudson. Under 7 minutes as Hudson comes across the line. Moving toward goal, and his shot blocked by Crow. Hermes will center it for Segota. Now to Ladouceur. 2-on-2 with Bronco. Stops at the red line. Ladouceur still with it to Segota. Now Coker coming down the right side. Bronco taking on Fogarty. Still with it. And then he stood up by Hudson. Willie back the other way, crossing the red line. Willie still with it. Will get a shot off the boards. He fell going after his own rebound. No foul call. Now under 6 minutes as Crow will clear it back for Gorsuch. Jimmy looks downfield, plays it to his left for Brian Schmetzer. Schmetzer on the run to the red line with Mike Jeffries watching him. Plays it to Namdar. Cha-Cha back to center for Schmetzer. Now to the far boards for Ladouceur. He'll come to midfield. Knocked down there by Usian. That's the 4th striker foul.
Well, you look at the faces of Thompson Usian and Tino Lettieri, Alan Willie, everybody else out there, and you can really see a lot of frustration, a lot of dejection.
What makes this such a disappointing loss for all Minnesotans is they were hoping for their first state championship in any professional sport. As they score now, Jeffries on a rebound. Their first championship in 34 years. Maybe they're not out of it yet. That makes it 5-2, and we get the officials' timeout on the field. We will pause with 5:25 left in the 4th period of the final game of the year. 5-2 Sockers. The attacker.
Well, we've not really the first time all night we've seen where the soccer defense is let down a little bit, as Jeffries and Usean teaming up on a goal with 5:25 to go. But they'll need a heck of a lot more of those to get back in this thing.
Sockers are one foul away from a penalty. That could be crucial now with Minnesota getting that goal. Another one would bring them to within 2. Here's V out of his own zone, but Thompson will take it away. Unfortunately, he scoops it off his own man out of play. So now 5:04 left. 5-2 the Sockers lead. Quinn has 2 goals. Collier, Segota, and Coker have the others. Clavillo on the free kick. Out of midfield, long ball drops over top of Brian Quinn. He and Hudson go to the corner. Quinn brings it out, plays it to Perez. Hugo turns to get away from one man, plays it off the end wall, but Lettieri will get it. With 4:50 left, he drops it off to the right for Kazbek Tambi. Tambi ahead for Hudson. That's a giveaway to Quinn. Bryan will backheel it forward for Addy Coker. Coker down the left wing, plays it back through for Quinn. Now to the right side for Namdar. Cha-Cha winds up off the boards. Played it too hard, and it'll come out to Alan Willie. Willie coming to center. Both teams changing on the go. Long pass ahead for Usean. He'll turn around and shoot. It's kicked out by Collier, and that will be kick in Minnesota. .417 remaining in this season, it would seem. And we have a kick in Minnesota. Mike Jeffries plays it back to Fogarty. Here's Lodovegas down the wing into the penalty area. Usean's got it, gets another chance, and he scores. And finally, Thompson Usean scores, and now it's a 2-goal game. Well, perhaps we wrote the strikers off a little early. It's 5-3, and the Sockers are 1 foul away from a penalty, which could make it 5-4 on a power play.
Well, the strikers, you got to give them a lot of credit. They're certainly not giving up. As Usean will chip in a loose ball in front, the ball just being bounced around, and Usean able to control it. Goes right under Schmetzer's legs and through Gorsuch for the goal.
So 2 unanswered goals by the strikers here in the 4th period. Now 4:07 left. From the kickoff, V back for Ladouceur, and he'll play it over 3 lines. And the crowd here a little quiet now as Lodovegas sets it down for the free kick. This will come from the red line. Left foots it in. Here's Dangerfield turning. Ladouceur will get it on the steal. Up the left side for Segota. Bronco going down the right wing. Shoots, and Lettieri has it in the penalty area. Bronco tried to bump it off the wall for Ladouceur. Byrne off his chest and out of play for San Diego ball. 3:47 left. Well, at some point here, Alan Merrick has got to decide to pull Lettieri and go with the extra attacker. It's his only hope, unless he can get a quick one here or get that 6th foul in the power play. Jeffries scoring from Usean, and then Usean from Lodovegas. Bo kicks it into center to Clavillo. He chips it up front for Perez. Knocked away. Here's Byrne getting it forward for Usean, but Clavillo will kick that away. Thompson back for Lodovegas. He comes to the red line, left foots it into the zone. Clavillo not going in hard, just laying off. Shot by Hudson wide. Perez after the rebound, and he's fouled. And Ray Hudson called for that. So both teams now at 5 fouls. 3:24 left. 5-3 Sockers lead. Played up to Julie V. He'll send it up the right side for Brian Quinn. Quinn into the right corner. Stops to get away from Byrne. Now to Hugo Perez. Perez just walks back the other way and plays it to Schmetzer. Schmetzer looking downfield. B breaks away from his man, Greg Thompson. Julie turns, and his right foot shot goes in the seats. Well, B might have been better there to hold it rather than shoot with the amount of time left on the clock that there is, but it'll come back goal kick for Lettieri.
No, it's really a tough angle to try to post up like that and then come around deep on the right side. And Julie thought he'd give it a shot.
Now you can't score great goals unless you try them. That would have been a great goal. 3:03 left. 5-3, Sockers leading. Goal kick coming up for Lettieri, as Merrick has still not pulled Tino for the extra attacker. Referee Gino DiPolito out talking to Chris Dangerfield of the Strikers. And now we're set to get underway. Lettieri out to Etherington as we now go under 3 minutes. Alan Willie at the left point. Plays it back to Jeffries. Jeffries at the left side, back to midfield for Etherington. He'll send it back into the corner for Chris Dangerfield. Both teams at the foul limit. Jeffries shoots. Gorsick turns it away. Fogarty rebound, and he was headed for the high corner, but kicks it out of play.
Well, Gorsick able to get the big left hand out there and knock it away. If he doesn't get the left hand, we're probably looking at a 5-4 game. The big shot, Gorsick with the left hand as he stops Jeffries.
So now a goal kick for Jimmy with 2:36 left. Here's Gorsick. Up to the edge of the penalty area. Fires it to midfield for Coker, and that is off Gary Etherington out of play. And the Sockers will get it halfway down the field now. Our championship trophy presentation coming up immediately after the game. You know, not only do the Sockers get a handful of thumbs here, or a handful of rings rather, if they win here tonight, Chuck, I think what it gives them is some real legitimate history as a franchise, and I think really gives the sport a little more credibility overall for the Sockers to win 5 consecutive championships, and really gives them a legacy for future teams to talk about and build upon.
Oh, I think without a doubt it does. I also think that you hear outsiders say it would have been nice for the league if Minnesota would win this. None of the Sockers buy that theory at all, obviously.
I haven't heard one member of the Sockers say that it would be great for the league if Minnesota won this thing. It would be great for the Sockers if they won it, and that's all they care about. Now there's 2:10 left as Kevin Crowe has the ball in midfield. He'll send it ahead for Addy Coker. Off his head and back to Tino. Now Tino's supposed to call timeout, but he misses the call from the bench. It'll come back to Alan Willie. Here's a dangerous player, but Coe with a big block. Segota to midfield. It comes away from Fogarty. Here's Bronco. He and Etherington get tangled up, and the ball called back to Tino. Played to him. Now he takes the timeout with 1:49 left. So the Strikers will give it one last shot with no one in their goal. And that can cost you against San Diego.
So Tino Lettieri coming out. And the fans really getting on Tino's case, and rightfully so.
You're reminded that season tickets are available for the 1986-87 campaign. Just call the Sockers at 224-GOAL for information on prices and seat location. And join us here next season for all 26 home games, as the Sockers, if they win here, will go after their 6th in a row.
Getting back to Tino Lettieri for just a minute, I think by and large the man has played very well in the nets considering all of the travel he's had to do, Randy. But I think if he made one giant glaring mistake in this series, it was burying the Sockers after the Strikers were up 3-1 and saying, this ain't going to go back to San Diego for Game 7 because we're going to win it in 6. That was a mistake.
It was. And now, if the Sockers can stay mistake-free for the next minute 49, they will leave here tonight, never to return until the fall with another championship. David Byrne will be the extra attacker for the Strikers. And you know, Chuck, I really think if Minnesota would have won this series, Lettieri would have been the MVP.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, because he played so well in the nets early on.
Namdar is out there with V, Quinn, Crow, and Clavillo for San Diego, and the Strikers have their net empty, and David Byrne is their extra attacker. Both teams are at the foul limit, so the Sockers want to stay away from a foul here, which would give Minnesota a two-man advantage. Byrne from the red line gives it away to Julie V. He will poke it back to midfield, but Koutsoukis brings it back in. To Byrne with 1:25 left. Now left side, Lodovegas will let one go off the head of Quinn into the corner, and bicycle kicked out by Clavillo. Comes down to midfield. Byrne sends it back in. Lodovegas chesting it down. Nice finesse pass to Usian. Back to Lodovegas. Now to Usian. He turns, shoots, and right into the arms of Jimmy Gorsuch. Gorsuch lobbing it to midfield for Julie V. With a minute left, Julie will kick it way up high and out of play. Now 58 seconds to go. Brings it up to the red line. Byrne still with it. A toe poke shot hits Quinn, and it's out of play, and it's San Diego ball. 49 seconds remain, and the Sockers on the verge of the unthinkable, especially unthinkable after being down 3-1.
Boy, and everybody's standing in the sports arena right now. They can sense it.
Here's Lodovegas with 44 to go. Koutsoukis shooting, and it's wide. Lodovegas on the rebound, a missed kick, and Gorsuch has that. And Jim Gorsuch takes the timeout, and a good call, because he can kill off another 4 or 5 seconds. If you watch the clock, it took a second or two for them to stop it on the timeout. So now there's 29 left, and this place is going wild. They're starting to celebrate on the San Diego bench just a little bit. What a long haul this has been since training camp in September through that early stretch of the year where the Sockers were 5-5, and people were wondering if they were as good as the year before. Then they went on a stretch where they won 13 out of 15, including 11 in a row. And now it's come to this, the final seconds of another truly incredible year by an incredible franchise.
And for the Minnesota Strikers, all they can do basically is look on and think about maybe what could have been.
Jim Gorsuch with the ball. He'll get it back from Kevin Crow and just smother it. Here's the chance on the empty net. Namdar in front, and he puts it through the crease line, but we had a whistle in the corner. And I think it will be, yes, the 6th foul to San Diego. So we will get a power play. We have just been informed, and I hate to take the drama away, but I'm going to, for those of you who may not stay with us for the post-game show. Brian Quinn has been named the playoff MVP this year in the MISL, and he'll receive the award down at midfield. So Quinn is the playoff MVP winner. So the Strikers will get a power play. And they kick it out of play. That took 5 seconds. And now Gorsuch.
And a lot of frustration by Thompson, you see in that time.
Gorsuch takes it back.
Sensing defeat, just turned around and cranked it in the direction of Gorsuch, but high above the net, into the crowd.
14 seconds remaining. Here's Clavillo. Up to the red line, sends it to center. Julie V with it, running into Byrne. 5 seconds. Clavillo at center. The game is over, and the Sockers have their one for the thumb.
We'll be back right after these words. Who's winning the 1985-86 Major Indoor Soccer League Championship. Yes, indeed, one for the thumb for the Sockers, 5 straight indoor championships. This might just be the sweetest of them all because the way they had to go about doing it. Sockers trailing into the series to Minnesota 3-1. Then they had to come back, of course, and win to make it 3-2. Then they had to go to Minnesota and win game 6, one which really looked like they weren't going to win, and they were able to come back with a skeleton crew because they had so many people hurt. They won there 6-3, and then the piece de resistance comes back in San Diego, the 7th and deciding game, the Sockers knocking off the Minnesota Strikers by a score of 5-3 in a very well-played 7th game. It's the first time we've ever had it in the MISL, the championship round, going the distance to 7 games. And it was a heck of a game tonight. 12,881 on hand, a sellout at the San Diego Sports Arena. We will be going down momentarily, just as soon as we're set up, to the field for the presentation of the MISL Championship Trophy. But the Sockers do, in fact, get one for the thumb as the Sockers knock off Minnesota 5-3 and again win the 1985-86 MISL Championship 4-3. First time they've ever had to go the distance. But this one's probably, I think if you ask Ron Newman and some of the other players who have been here for a while, like Gene Wilrich,
Ladies and gentlemen,
that this one might really be the
Commissioner
sweetest.
of the Major Indoor Soccer League, Bill Kentling.
Thank you, Randy. First, the owners of the Minnesota Strikers, Joe and Elizabeth Robbie, General Manager Tim Robbie. Here on behalf of the team, for Coach Alan Merrick and the team and the ownership group in Minneapolis, is the captain of the Minnesota Strikers, Alan Willie.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, representing Anheuser-Busch, and to make the presentation for the most valuable player in the playoffs from Anheuser-Busch, Bruce Hudson.
Thank you, Randy. On behalf of Anheuser-Busch and our Budweiser brand and Coast Distributing, I'd like to present the Budweiser Most Valuable Player Trophy for the playoffs to number 14 of the Sockers, Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, now for the Budweiser Gold Championship medallion, I'd like for Captain Gene Wilrich to come forward and accept this on behalf of the San Diego Sockers.
This is unbelievable. Without you fans, we could not do it. And this tonight, look at this bunch of players here. This is unbelievable. This is magnificent. I'm telling you.
Let me get one other person. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the city of San Diego is Councilman Bill Cleater with a few short words.
Thank you. The city is really proud of you, Sockers. You were fabulous. Thank you very much for giving us this trophy. 4-5. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This is what you've waited all season for. I'd like to ask Bob Bell, Coach Ron Newman, and again Captain Gene Wilrich to come forward. On behalf of the San Diego Sockers, you've won one for the thumb and the championship trophy. Bob Bell.
I just want to thank the city of San Diego and all of our great fans and all these great players for a phenomenal win, a phenomenal team, a phenomenal coach, and a phenomenal city. Thank you very, very much. I'd also like to thank, I think I would also ask you to give a great hand to the best opponents we've ever faced in the MISL and to their parents.
Quite a moment, one for the thumb.